What's up, y'all, and welcome back to the Morning Vibe. Happy Tuesday morning, too. If you were watching this on the day that it comes out, I hope you guys had a great Monday, and I'm glad to see you here with me to start your Tuesday morning. Rolling into that midweek. It's like the dog days of summer every week, right? Like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Mondays are kind of weird because you got to go back to work. Fridays are great because most time it's your last day of work. You're just kind of rolling through Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. At least that's the way it is for me. I think a lot of people have said that Tuesday's like the most productive day of the week for every single worker alive. I think I've heard that before. But today we're going to talk about something near and dear to my heart. And I've had a couple people ask me for this. Now, I want to preface this by saying, and I've told you guys this before, I am in no way an expert at YouTube or Facebook or content creation or anything that has happened or that I've been able to do on the content creation. I've had so much help along the way from different individuals and different people. And I've been very, very blessed to work with a lot of people who have helped me along the way and given me information. So when I talk about stuff about building a YouTube channel or about building a Facebook page or content creation in general, most of the time I'm regurgitating something that someone has fed me along the way. And that's going to be partially the case today, but today is not about what you should do. Today is about what you shouldn't do. Now, I'm not an expert on what you should do to grow a YouTube or Facebook channel, but I do know of a few things that I have made, mistakes that I've made along the way that have really, really hindered my growth early on in the process. So today we're going to give you guys the top 5 things you must avoid when you begin your content creation journey. And I think these are all mistakes I made. That's why I'm telling you guys about them. I can speak confidently on this because all 5 of these are things that I did early on or didn't do in some cases that I really, really feel like hindered my growth in the early stages of my content creation. And these are in no particular order. These are just, it's not like a least to worst. And I'm going to give a couple of honorable mentions in there. We may end up touching on more than 5, but I'm going to give you at least 5 that I really believe are huge mistakes that I made. I've done a video before, like the biggest mistake I've made, but this is before that. This is rolling it back all the way to the very beginning when I first started creating content on my own. And I'm going to start with the first thing that I'm going to say, number 1 on the list that you should avoid doing if you are starting to create content, and that's trying to be something you're not. And I know that's really easy and you're like, oh, I would never do that. I would not do that whatsoever. But guys, it is so easy to do. You get caught up in this, maybe trying to use a different voice or trying to give yourself a demeanor. And most of the time it's avoiding something that you don't like about yourself. So, and when you go back and you watch videos or you're editing videos, 9 times out of 10, if you're not 100% comfortable on camera, and I promise you, if you're just starting out and you've never watched yourself on camera, you're probably going to be uncomfortable unless you just have a background in that or something like that. So most of the time when I see people, and again, everything I'm talking about is relating directly to me. This is stuff that I did early on. When I go back and look at some of my original videos, I was trying to talk in a different voice. I was like, I can't even do it anymore. I don't even know what I was doing back there, but it didn't come off as natural. It was coming off as fake. So when people saw these videos, they're like, this dude he's bogus. Like there's nothing real about this guy. It showed like a sore thumb on camera when this was going on. So number 1 on that list to avoid when you start your content creation journey is just be yourself. Don't try to be something you're not. Don't go out and try to be an expert in everything. I see so many people. It's literally one of my biggest pet peeves on the platform. You'll have somebody, and I'll watch a video, and it'll be a decent video, and they'll have 100 subscribers, and they'll get 50 views on a video, and the video will literally be titled, "My very first pompano ever from the surf." Awesome. Congratulations. You did a great job. Good job catching that fish. Their very next upload will be how to catch a pompano from the surf every time. That's you trying to be something you're not. Don't try to be an expert in something. Like the biggest thing I learned along the way was I didn't need to be an expert in fishing. I needed to be honest with the audience and be like, hey, I don't know how to fish, but I'm going to learn and I'm going to get better at it. And I'm going to bring you guys along for that journey with me. Like that was the best decision I ever made was when I did that. But the mistake I made was in the beginning and I was trying to be something that I was not. Number 2 on that list, the second biggest mistake I made when I started my content creation journey was lack of planning. 100%. I don't care what industry you're in, what genre you're in. If you get ready to start making videos, you have got to lay out a plan for what you're going to do that day. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I never did. I'd grab a camera, I'd go out and I'd just start filming stuff. And whatever happened, happened. There was no storyline. There was no arc. There was no beginning, no middle, no end. All that stuff that's important, I was not doing. 9 times out of 10, I wouldn't even leave the house and know what I was going to do that day. Now, you've heard me talk about before that creating content is the most difficult genre to do that in, to plan ahead. And it truly is. It's difficult to plan your day when you're fishing, because you don't know what the fish are going to bite. You don't know, you might completely arc your story, and it's okay. It's okay to swerve and change the path that you're on for the day. But every time you go to shoot a video, you've got to have a plan in place, whether you're a gamer, whether you're an outdoorsman, whether you're a makeup artist. I mean, if you think about this, let's say you want to start doing makeup tutorials on YouTube, and would you ever sit down, or let's just forget about YouTube. Let's just say let's say you're a woman or whatever, and you're getting ready to, I have to say whatever. If you're putting on makeup, let's put it that way. If you're putting on makeup for yourself, would you ever sit down and put on makeup without an idea of what you wanted it to look like at the end? I'm guessing the answer is probably not. And if you don't, you probably aren't very good at doing makeup. I mean, I'll be honest with you. And it's no different for anything else. So whether you're making makeup tutorials or whether you're making gaming or whatever it is that you're doing, you need to have a plan in place before you set out to do that. Now, will everything go to plan? No, it won't. And that's okay. You don't have to have everything go exactly according to plan. You just have to make sure that you have a plan in place as you're moving forward and you're doing all those preparations. When you start creating that content, it's going to be so vitally important to you. Number 3 on the list, watch yourself for copyright claims, because I've seen so many people get stuck in this trap. And it hurts you so much when it becomes time to become a YouTube partner and to become monetized. Part of the review process for becoming a YouTube partner is they're going to go back and they're going to check all of your old videos to make sure you don't have a bunch of copyright claims, strikes, whatever it is. Copyright claim, copyright strikes, 2 totally different things because they don't hurt your channel. If you have a copyright claim like for music or something like that, that's not going to hurt you in the short term. But if YouTube goes back and they see that you built your channel based off copyrighted material, they're not going to allow you to come into the YouTube partner program, even though you've got the hours and you've got the subscribers. That's just not going to happen. A prime example of that is like lyric videos. You see all these lyric videos out there. It might be a Morgan Wallen song. And it's just like a lyric video that they put together, and it might have 10 million views. And that, you look at it and the guys that got like 60,000 subscribers, that channel's probably not monetized, because when YouTube does that look through to see if you're eligible to be monetized, because they do review your account, they're going to notice that you've got all these copyright claims on your account. So they're going to believe that you built your channel off of copyright claims. So you have to be really mindful to make sure you're not using clips from movies and TV shows and, copyrighted music. It's something that you need to, I've heard so many people tell me, and that's the reason I wanted to add this one. I didn't really personally make this mistake myself, because I knew early on, just from being in the wedding industry, what you could and couldn't do. And I knew that eventually I planned to make money off of this YouTube channel. So if you're planning to make money at it, you are not allowed to use it if it's copyrighted. That's the way of the land. It's the way it goes. It's been that way forever. So I never personally made this mistake, but I've seen so many people, like I'll pull up a YouTube video and have a copyrighted song in it and it's just blaring through it. And I'm like, golly, man, like, you're not going to be able to monetize this video. And if you have too many of these, they're not going to allow you to come into the YouTube partner program either, which is, not the most ideal situation. I have to step over here for a minute because I did make a note today at my trusty 3M Post-it notes. Did you guys know, this is a fun fact for you. This is a fun fact. Did you know that most corporations in the United States, this is their number 1 cost expenditure, is Post-it notes, 3M Post-it notes. A lot of companies, like when I worked for US Bank, you weren't even allowed to order Post-it notes because it was such a cost. They were like, they were pretty strict on that. So I think we're on number 4. Number 4, and this is probably the one, golly, that I was the most guilty of, and it was not figuring out who my audience was. Golly, man, this could certainly fall under the biggest mistake you made. And I'm gonna give you guys a story. Jason from Cog Hill Farm, I heard him speak at the creators conference when I was out in Oklahoma with Daniel Arms, and he was talking about your audience analytics. And I used to do this too. Like I'd go in there and I'd look and I'd be like, man, everybody loves me, because it breaks it down for you. If you've never actually looked at it or you've never seen it. So it tells you like 0 to 18, 18 to 25, 25 to 35, all the way down, tells you whether they're male, whether they're female, all the stuff that breaks down your audience for you. Well, when I was looking at my audience, I was like 20, 20, 20, 20, 20. Like that was my 100%. And I'm like, ooh, that's great. Everybody loves me. That's not the case. You've got to narrow it down to figure out who your target audience is, because that's when your videos are really going to get pushed. You've got to figure out a way to have people anticipate when your videos are coming out. And when we really got on a big hot streak in the summer of 2021, I believe it was, fall of 2021, one of the major things we were doing at that time was we were building that story arc with Eugene. And it's in the fishing industry, it's so tough. If you're a content creator in the outdoor world, it's very, very tough to link videos together. Your video's got a beginning, it's got a middle, it's got an end, but when it's over, it's kind of over. It's hard to get, somebody to be hanging on to every word like you do in a television show. How many times have you watched a TV show and an episode will end and all you can think about is what's going to happen the next week? Well, when we were doing the Eugene stuff, we were able to do that very, very effectively. We were building these story arcs, and we would end a video, whether it was fishing related or not, we would end a video with something with Eugene and the PYT or Chrissy or something like that. And it's like, oh my gosh, what happened? I've got to watch the next video to see what happens. So that does a couple things for you. One, it gets people anticipating when you're going to drop that next video. And number two, it's going to put people like more loyal to you, because if they're waiting for your videos, that's when you really, really are starting to establish something. So one of the 5 big mistakes to avoid, I would say, is definitely figuring out who your audience is, or not figuring out your audience. That's so important. And there's no magic button, guys. Like I can't sit here and give you the exact answer of what it is. You just got to kind of figure it out. And it's funny because like you would think in the fishing world, everybody's target audience is the same, and it's not. I'll tell you guys, like right now, like my target audience is going to be like those 40 to 65-year-old men. I have a few female subscribers, but not a ton. Where like the Guggen Squad, who's doing fishing as well, their target audience is going to be in that 0 to 25 frame. I would venture to guess 90% of their audience is in that 0 to 25% frame with most of those guys. So figure out who your audience is. That's going to be very, very important with you. Number 5, this is a tough one, because this is something I did probably the worst of anything. This is, aside from not changing the channel name when I should have probably just started a new channel, this was probably my second biggest mistake that I made when we started creating content, and that was over editing videos. Guys, don't over edit your videos. Here's the thing. If you're trying to be Peter McKinnon or Casey Neistat, if you don't know who those guys are, most of you do, some of you don't try to be them if you can't be. If you're not good enough to be them, don't edit your videos and try to be them, because it's going to show, and 9 times out of 10, it's going to hurt you. For the most part in the outdoor industry, if you over edit a video, it's going to hurt that video, because that's not what your target audience is looking for. You have to create content that you want to create first and foremost. So don't let this sound like I'm telling you not to create what you want to create, because you have got to create what you want to create, because if you don't, you're going to get burnt out. But that being said, you have to figure out what you want to create, and then you have to figure out the best way to present that to your audience that they want to intake it, because that's important. If you don't have an audience intaking your content, it's going to be pretty short-lived. You're not going to be able to do it very long, because the people that are watching it, they have to enjoy it. They have to take it in a manner that they enjoy taking it in. So that's another thing that Jason from Cog Hill Farm brought up and really talked about. He was over editing his videos in the beginning, and it hurt him. He made a beautiful video, like literally maybe one of the best videos ever. And I'm talking to Jason right now. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Jason is going to sit in on a podcast with me. We'll probably put that one over on the main channel, because Jason's such a big name in the industry. But Jason is a master at that now. Like he simplified his videos. He was doing all these crazy fancy edits and all this stuff. And they were beautiful videos. They were amazing. Like Daniel and Lester and Dutch, like, man, this guy's going to blow up. but his channel just never moved. And it was because he was over editing his videos. I did the same thing, not to the extent because I was nowhere near as good at it as what Jason was. Jason was making high quality videos. I was making crappy videos that were over edited. Don't put too much music in your videos. Like, I know music adds a cool effect to your video, and you see somebody like Fishing with Norm and those guys, and it adds so much to their videos. But the problem is, not everybody's that good. Like, I'm just being honest with you. Like, they probably made 500 videos, and they've gotten to the point where they can do that. But when you add music at the wrong time or the wrong place in a video, it can be so distracting. And if you don't pick the right music, it can be so distracting. So you just really have got to be careful with what you're putting, into your video, and that you're not over editing. Sometimes simple is key. Like, and I've figured that out even more so in like the last 6 months, man. Like, I was doing so many like extra things when I was fishing, and I was doing all this crazy stuff. And I'm like, man, I just need to take a step back, do what I know to do it that way, and then like roll with it and kind of see what happens. And that's what I've been doing. I've been trying to slow it down just a little bit because I do have that older audience over on the Cameraman Ron page. I know I have that older audience. So it was vitally important to me for me to kind of tone that back a little bit, which I did. And it's helped our channel. So guys, I truly hope this video helped you out in some way, form, or fashion. Again, I'm not an expert at creating content. I don't claim to be. I don't claim that I ever will be. But I do know a few mistakes I've made. So I'm trying to pass those along to folks, just to kind of show you guys that, there are mistakes that are made. Hopefully I can help you guys out and let you avoid one or two of them. But that's all I got for you today, guys. God bless each and every one of you. I hope you find a way to make somebody smile today. And as always, we'll see you on the next one.